Hello and welcome to a new video. Tonight I'm going to be taking the Honda Trail 125 out for a night ride. It's a pretty nice night out. It's in the temperature's in the 70s, so it's not too hot. I figured I would take this out at night, because I've taken it for one, I think, night ride so far. Now, it's very windy, so hopefully it isn't too windy on camera here. And I'm going through Frankfurt Avenue. Which is a popular road that has a lot of restaurants and bars and shops and stuff. I'm shooting this video with the Insta360 1-inch edition 360 camera. It's the One RS 360 1-inch. Because this way I don't have to bring two cameras with me. I can just take one and get video in the direction facing in front of me and behind me at the same time. I mean, it takes more editing time, but it's also easier than having two cameras mounted somewhere. And this is Frankfurt Avenue at Ewing Avenue. And the Trail 125, I think, is a pretty good night ride bike. The display instrumentation is digital and it's lit up pretty well, so it's pretty easy to see, as opposed to the Honda Navi that I had before. It wasn't quite as visible at nighttime, because it was just kind of the standard speedometer tack that, you know, goes from left to right, and then it has the you know, the little card that has the speed, and then there's a light behind it that lights it up, as opposed to this is a just, you know, digital round display that just shows the speed, so it's a little bit easier to see at nighttime. And I would assume this bike being bright yellow probably helps with the visibility some, in addition to the lights. And it has more modern LED lights for the headlight, the turn signals, the tail light and stuff. All things that aren't a huge deal, but are nice. This bike is not very loud, with the factory muffler and, you know, everything. This is bone stock. I'm not sure if I'll change anything on it. I've seen people putting knobbier tires on it, so it is, you know, a little bit better off-road, and people changing out, you know, the muffler and the air intake and the air filter and stuff like that, but I don't know that I'll be changing any of that. And then this is approaching the end of Frankfurt Avenue, where it'll cross over Millwood Avenue. We'll go down towards the riverfront, towards River Road. But hopefully at some point I can get out from behind this bus. Because in a motorcycle or a car that isn't super tall, It's always very annoying when you're behind a vehicle that's much taller than you, so you can't tell what any of the traffic lights or traffic conditions are up ahead of you. So it's always nice to get around that. And then this side of Frankfurt Avenue is where there are some of the city impound lots for cars that get towed. So hopefully you never have to visit this area for that reason. And then a good reason to come here is up ahead is the Botanical Garden, which is over on the right. It's closed right now. It's open during the week and the weekends, and they have special events here. I think it's free most days just to walk through. But you can be a member and join to get access to different events and things, which my girlfriend's a member, so we've gone to some different events, and I really enjoy it. I think it's a nice place, and hopefully they continue expanding it, because some of their plans for the future look pretty awesome. So I'm going to go straight up ahead here and go down by the river, see what that looks like. This is an area where there's a boat dock that's right down on the river. So I'll go check that out, and then I'll head through downtown Louisville for a quick loop. But, you know, one thing that is nice about this trail is that the appearance of it, you know, it's definitely a throwback look, and anybody that, you know, knows about these bikes will probably be interested. And I have had people stop me and say, "Oh, cool bike, man." But, you know, not looking for that. But the main thing is, some people think it looks kind of like a moped or a scooter or something, so you might get a little bit more leeway in different areas, taking it somewhere you maybe shouldn't, because it doesn't look aggressive. It looks more like kind of a little moped or something. So this is the Ohio River. There's a lot of boats down here. And I'm not sure exactly how bright this image will be, so I guess see in editing what that looks like. And if you're curious, the video settings I'm using on this camera, it's got a 1-inch sensor, which should theoretically be good in lower light conditions. I think the thing that people often get confused about and get upset about is they'll see a camera like this, or, you know, the Insta360 Ace Pro or the DJI Action 4, and they see it recommended as good in low light. And the caveat there is the good in low light is compared to other action cameras and small sensor cameras. It's not actually as good in low light as a Sony full-frame camera, like the A7 series or their cinema cameras. So people buy these and just have completely unrealistic expectations of what they can actually do. With the video settings, I have this set to ISO 2000, and the shutter speed set to 1/100. And it's a fixed aperture lens. I think it's a f2.2, and it's a 1-inch sensor. So a much larger sensor and aperture than a GoPro, for example, for a standard GoPro, but nowhere near, you know, the sensor size and the aperture on the lens and stuff that you would see on a, you know, professional film production that's trying to shoot in natural low light. And then just the reason I leave the shutter speed at 1/100 is so that it's still fast enough that the camera image stabilization can work well enough. Because if the shutter speed gets to be too slow and it's left open for too long, then you get motion blur, And then when it stabilizes the image, it's stabilizing a blurry image, and then it just looks jittery and bad. So that's the way I get around that, is just manually changing the settings. If you put it on auto, it might look okay sometimes, but it'll probably look pretty crappy most of the time. So that's the kind of trick with some of these cameras, having to manually set the video settings. And then the one thing I wish this bike had, which may be wishful thinking for a bike in this price range and this size, is I wish it had some type of indicator on the display what gear you were in. Because usually on, when I had a motorcycle before that had a clutch, a lot of times you would kind of just get used to the position of the gear shifter over time, and that would be a good indicator. You can just kind of reach down and touch and have a little bit of an idea of what gear you're in if you forget. But in this one, it's not so possible. I mean, there's only 4 gears, so yes, that's more user error for not getting used to what gear you're in based on the sound of the engine and the speed you're going. I'm also still getting used to this bike that has 210 miles. So I'm still working towards hitting that 600-mile mark to do the first service, and to assume that it's fully broken in. This is going down Main Street to downtown Louisville, the Whiskey Row area. There's a lot of restaurants and bars, and obviously places sell and serve whiskey. So a lot of tourists, when they come here, stay down here and go to all these places. I mean, it's the same, same thing as anywhere. When you live in a city, you don't typically go and spend as much time in all the areas that the tourists coming into the city go to. And then as I say that, a big bus pulls up next to me. That's the kind you would use for traveling. Yeah, I've gone to most of these places at some point, especially when I used to work downtown, but I don't go to the stuff down here all that often. Well, it's not too, some people are like, oh, downtown's scary. It's just, the fact that it is more touristy and busy and probably a little bit more overpriced would be more of the reason that I would avoid some of the places. There's another example of where having the readout of what gear you're in would be useful. Okay, right now the helmet that I'm wearing it because it has a GoPro mount on the front where I can connect the camera, and the mount works out that the camera is elevated high enough on the back side of me that I can get the back-facing view. There's a little bit of helmet in the image, but still able to get that back-facing view. But this helmet is noisier than my normal, Ruroc Atlas 4.0 road motorcycle helmet. This one is a little bit noisier. So it makes it a little bit harder to hear the engine sounds. To more accurately be able to tell what gear I'm in. And here's where I'll go back through downtown. Yeah, this would be a nice bike for commuting, although, I say that, I don't know that I would actually use this for commuting. Not because of any of the features of the bike itself, just this is a pretty light bike, and it looks pretty cool, unless you have a very secure garage, I'm not sure I would trust this just sitting out in a parking lot somewhere, like on a surface parking lot. So maybe I would, you know, if you have a multi-level parking garage with good security, and there's a motorcycle parking area on the upper levels that aren't accessible by the street, I would maybe use it, but I don't know that I would just park this on the side of the road or in a surface level lot unless I was going to be within eyesight of it, then, you know, within my vision, my line of sight. And if you're in a super rural area, then maybe you can get away with that. But I don't know about most cities, because I see videos where somebody has a bike that's this, you know, weight, parked in a garage or on a parking lot or something, and somebody rolls up in a minivan, slides the door open, 2 people get out, pick it up, put it in the van, drive off. Because these bikes weigh, you know, between 200 to 300 pounds, so they're not super heavy. Like in the garage, in my garage, I need to maneuver this bike around, I can lift it up by the rear rack and move the back end around pretty easy. So, you know, scoot it in closer to the wall or the bench or whatever, or to scoot it back out when it's time to take it out. So it's not very heavy. Love Boutique just back there. You know, the adult type stores that I'm not sure how much longer those types of things will be around. I mean, I don't know, some of those have been around forever. It was one of those genres of things where it's like, well, do people really go in stores to buy pornography when the internet exists? I guess the answer is probably yes, because they're obviously still in business, but, you know. Well, different states are enacting different laws that require you to register a driver's license on sites to see stuff. I'm not sure how that works, but... So this video is just going to have tons of cuts. I'm looping back down by the riverfront. There's this one area I want to see if it's open at nighttime before I wrap this video up. This is down at Brook Street and Washington Street, not too far from the Ohio River. So this is kind of going back to the area I was at the beginning of the video. This is heading towards the Louisville Slugger Field where the Louisville Bats baseball team plays. I forget what the specific category of the team is or what the league is, but it's professional baseball, but definitely not MLB level. And then that ties in with the fact that there's also the Louisville Slugger Museum downtown, which earlier I went past that. It's like on Main Street and 8th. And there are a lot of bridges down in downtown Louisville. The one I'm going under right now is I-65, Interstate 65, where the speed limit is, well, I forget if it's 55, I think it's 55 through there, but this Trail 125 and the other minimotos, I think these are ones where you should not take them on the highway. When I bought the Navi, they specifically had me sign a paper saying I wouldn't take it on the highway. When I got the Trail 125, they did not have me sign that. Because even if this could do 55, and there's a road you want to go on, the speed limit is 55, I don't know that it's really safe to do that. Because then, to do the 55, you're absolutely at the maximum power output that the bike has. You're not going to be able to go any faster. Or if you do, it just takes a long time on a straight road with that much wind. This is going down River Road. And then the toll bridge that's in Louisville, between Louisville and Indiana, the 2nd Street Bridge is the toll-free bridge, where its speed limit is 35 miles per hour. But everybody goes a bit faster than that, and that's also the bridge that made national news when a car had broken down on the bridge and had their flashers on. There was a truck weaving in and out of traffic like a regular pickup truck, and they went in the oncoming lane of traffic and hit a semi, and then after that the semi ended up crashing through the bridge and almost falling into the water below. It was suspended hanging off the side, and the fire department had to do a daring rescue of the driver. So that was national news somewhat recently. This road is not very well lit up. It's hard to see. So this is open, I think. Got the bright light on. So this is a road that takes you down to where you can see a close view of the Ohio River. There's also some paths through here. I think there's a like cyclocross bicycle thing over on the far left side, which I'm not sure exactly where all of that is. I went through on a normal bicycle before and checked it out. I haven't really gone through. I guess I'll just go through here and see where this trail is. It's kind of wet. Yeah, so once I do this, I'll wrap up the video. Yeah, so this trail bike is great for kind of light off-roading like this, just going through kind of a light, grass path, or a dirt path, or gravel or something. I don't think you're gonna want to take this off of any jumps. I'm not sure it's quite built for that. I mean, maybe some small ones, but You know, it's more what the name entails. It's a trail. So you can use it for trail riding and then street riding and, you know, urban commuting. I think it's great for stuff like that. But I would not take this on super technical trails that you should really have a full-on powerful dirt bike for. I think it's great for, you know, kind of like what that was, just riding through a grassy field or something. Yes, I was taking the Honda Trail 125 out for a ride at nighttime in Louisville, Kentucky. But yeah, that's it till next time. Later.